Well, I believe we are live and we're only 30 seconds late. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2LaneLIVE podcast, whatever you want to call it. This episode is brought to you by EagleRider Motorcycle Rentals and Tours. Go to 2LaneLIVE.com to check that out and learn how you can save some money and travel the country at the same time. What's happening, boys? First off, who do we have in the house today?
Well, I can't wait to get him in. Jace from Fast Life is there. Sitting in the wings. He was one of our first podcasts.
Right.
In fact, you actually did one with him when we didn't even have 2LaneLIVE.
Right. Yeah.
He was over talking to Lance. So we're excited to have him in. We just did an incredible trip. It was our first trip of the year. We meant to do a father-daughter's ride, but we were rained out in the month of January. So the first week or the last couple days of January, first part of February, which was Lance's birthday, February 5th, by the way. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We cruised up to Ely, Nevada, and went across the loneliest highway, the Highway 50. Used to be the old stagecoach route, and then Lincoln's Highway, and became Highway 50. And on the way up that night, we did about 550 miles. It was probably 20 degrees to 30 degrees most of the night time. And then the last hour and a half, we got down to 14, 15 degrees.
It was
and Josh's fingers, look at his fingers, guys.
Well, it's only been a couple of days, but basically from my forearm down to the fingertips, only on my right hand are still numb and the nerves are pretty fucked up. But the left hand was tucked right under that. Yeah.
So when you become an employee at 2LaneLIVE, all bets are off. Like you have to lose limbs, body
I'm
parts.
getting demoted to employee soon. It's going to be bad.
Yes.
So what I learned for sure is that I don't care what cold weather gear you have. If you don't have the mindset to endure and deal with it and put it out and just make it happen, you just like get tough, you better stay home.
Well, we need to talk to Jace about that too, because he's been into some gnarly weather.
Yes.
Rainstorms, colds. I think he was most recently up at Adams Campground. He's got some stuff to talk about. But, this week's drop, we actually put, the Deadwood Green guy for most of the drop, changing his oil.
Yeah, so that was great. So we get to watch him change his oil. If you haven't seen the video, get back there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell your friends to do it. So we had a little, like he said, a great video of Josh changing the oil, how to do it on a Jiffy stand, just down and dirty.
Oil change for dummies, if you will.
Well, you're not a dummy.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
But hey,
but what's coming?
Well, what do you mean what's coming?
The next week, this next coming up Wednesday.
The loneliest highway.
The start of the loneliest highway.
We also are hoping to have next Monday a little present for the Road King in the shop.
Yes.
And we might do an install video next week, and we may interrupt the series for one day, or we may not.
Yeah, we might drop it after, but it's been a long-awaited install for the Road King, and I'm looking forward to it. I've gotten quite a few messages saying people are looking forward to it and trying to get the same thing for their bike. So anyway.
Well, before we jump him in, go ahead. I've got something to say. Please say your piece.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends. Did I already say that?
You did, but it does not hurt.
It does not hurt. And I just want to say one thing about Jace, unless you want to say one thing about Jace.
I was going to say something about something else, so you say what you want to say.
You better not say what you said when
our guest, Jace, we've known him for a while now, and he definitely can put the miles down. He goes the distance. He's a badass rider on badass bikes. So,
But I don't know about Big Wheel Cody.
Yeah, Big Wheel Cody.
The jury's still out on that guy.
No, he rips too. Big Wheel Cody's a badass.
Yeah, I'm the recipient of some of the Twisted Sister rocks from my buddy Cody. But I was just going to say we got off the phone today. We're kind of locked up. We're looking at being in Daytona the 6th through the 9th.
Yep.
Then we're probably going to take off, head down to Miami, and take a run out to the Keys and get out of there around on the 11th at some point.
But they'll be able to find us at the Harley-Davidson tent, booth, whatever. We're going to do a meet and greet there. We're going to have some fun. Today we had a great time. Lance from Thrashin came over and said, hey, there's like 8 of us going to lunch. We're going to go find some tacos. You guys want to join us? We did. It was a great lunch ride, and that's going to be a cool little vlog to see too.
I'm kind of looking at our coloring, and it's like we look like we're tan.
We are tan.
That's
all right.
I got that white balance on.
No, leave it.
All right. Well,
we look hot.
Without further ado, we got Jace Hudson in the house, aka Fast Life Jace, aka Fast Life Garage. He does paint, he does photography, he does videography. He's working on some vlogs. He's got a gnarly podcast. He rides bikes. He's got a campground. He's got a camp out. And apparently he's got a polar ride. So he does a whole lot of shit, and here he is. What's up? Say hello to the people.
Come on, Jace.
Yo, Jace.
I'm over here laughing my ass off in the background.
Well, good. We can make you laugh.
Yeah, you definitely can.
So we need to, did you do EagleRider?
I did do EagleRider, and you know what? We're just cutting Jace off. We're drinking Voodoo Rangers
by New Belgium. Thank you, New Belgium, for the beer sponsor. We love it.
Free beer.
So, Jace, I saw recently, and we talked a little bit. You got the Campout coming up here. When is that, in April?
Yeah, we're kicking it off April 27th through the 30th. It's a Thursday through Sunday event, and it's the 6th year. And
6 years.
It's kind of grown into something pretty big. We never really planned for it to. I mean, you don't plan things like that. We wanted to go do some camping on motorcycles, so we did, and then it kind of stuck and became a thing. And it's centralized in America, so it kind of pulls from all different four corners of America to come to it. And believe it or not, there's actually some really great riding in Oklahoma. Most people don't know about it. The Talamina Parkway's there, and our campground that we do at Adam Sandoval's, it's his campground, the K River. We do it there, and it just lends itself to, you're in the middle of nowhere, so you can kind of get away with everything. And then you also have some of the best riding around. You know what I mean? He likes to say it's some of the best riding between the Smokies and the Rockies, which I think that, there's probably some truth to that. But, Arkansas is pretty badass, and so is Missouri. So,
Missouri's beautiful.
Yeah.
So where do they find out about the people that are new or interested in the campground, the Campout?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not like a huge event type thing. I mean, we've had last year we hit like 1,000 attendees, 1,000 people at it. We're trying to keep it all grassroots. We don't do vendors. You're not walking in there getting bombarded with LED light salesmen and leather guys and
trying to buy some chaps, homie.
It's we try to keep it to where it's always about the people. We do encourage a lot of brands to come out and represent their brand, but represent their brand as motorcyclists, like be out there on bikes, hanging out, get to know people. And I've always said that I feel like that's a better way to connect with your customer base or build a much tighter bond with them by being out there on a bike with them and stuff like that. And so we've had a lot of brands that's kind of leaned into it. I don't know if you say that right.
They were leaning into it.
Yeah, they were leaning into it. But yeah, so it's just grown naturally over the years, and we've added things to it that we didn't know we needed, but it just naturally became that. We have a good buddy of mine, Big Trouble. He started doing a little bike show thing I wouldn't say a little, but he wants to get into the space of creating bike shows at events, and he's got a great premise. So we asked him to bring his bike show to our campground or camp out. And so, finding people like that's got ideas that want to make it better for everybody. It's like, instead of me doing it, it's nice to have other people that want to, take the initiative and make things happen. So,
right. Well, I mean, you've been doing it for a while, and I know I've seen some of the folks like Joey Barella in his pickle package with his
he did it right. when he came to the campground, he made himself he made himself stand out amongst the crowd. So can't really. He made the T-shirt last year. That's for damn sure.
Right.
So when you're at the camp, do you sleep at all, or are you up the whole time?
Some people are up all night. Adam Sandoval put a burnout pit, and nobody uses it until 2 a.m. It's how it works. So it's crazy because when you're sleeping out in tents, you'll pass out, and then you'll hear something at 2 a.m. You check your phone, fuck, they're still going. Then 4 a.m. and then you finally get 30 minutes of pure peace and quiet, and then the people that went to bed early start to wake up and ride out and do things. So it's there's not a big window of peace and quiet at it. So
So
there's
all of the time you've done this, like, has it ever like dumped rain on you guys there? Or has it always been decent?
Every time. And I try to tell people, you know, the other concept of this camp out, the way it's kind of evolved into what it is now, is we try to get people to ride to this. You know, I wouldn't call people new riders, but looking for something new in motorcycles. Like maybe they're tired of the local bar thing that they do every week, or maybe they live in a part of country where they don't have like a big group of friends that they can go meet up with and do rides. So our event, you know, like I said, it pulls from all corners of the country. And as it gets closer, more and more people start posting about coming. And then you get people that all kind of link up in different areas and ride together. And I think it just opens the door of people getting a taste for what it's like to be on the open road, to see what it's like doing gas stops, see how people, you know, whether they camp somewhere, or they get a hotel, or just all the little nuances of traveling on motorcycles. I think it exposes it to them. And then next thing you know, it opens the door for someone else to start wanting to plan their own trips. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, traveling on motorcycles, and you guys are probably attest to this, I think this is the most rewarding thing that I've ever done on motorcycles, is traveling the country on it, riding with different people, with some of my best friends, just all the different variations of that. So I hope that somehow other people can find that same connection that I have with motorcycling.
I agree with that 100%.
100%. And at the same time, we consider you a great friend. We wouldn't have had that without this.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, not the podcast, but just the bikes and the commonality there.
Yeah.
All the podcasts, all that's separate. But spending some time, you know, with you out in your hometown, with Britta and all the folks, it was great. And, you know, we say we meet friends all across the country, but sometimes you don't get to spend as much time or quality time with. It's just kind of a passing through the night, you know, and so to spend time with you and see the kind of dude you are and your passion behind what you do, you know, we know you a different way than some people, you know.
Yeah, I know you guys differently than YouTube does too.
Hey, so we're talking about going to Daytona. So, I mean, we've never been. So what, like,
you're asking the wrong guy, dude. I'm just
really
let you know right now. Yeah.
You've never been?
I've been, and I have no desire to ever go back.
Right.
What about Big Wheel Cody? Could he be like our tour guide? Is he going to ride the Big Wheel?
He needs to sell the motherfucker.
Sure does.
Big Wheel Cody once he did it all. He went alone. He jumped on the bike and rode down to Key West by himself, and then came back up through Daytona. And I thought that was really cool. You know, him just doing a solo trip like that. My good buddy does a camp out in Florida in November. So the only time I want to go to Florida is on that event. I've done Daytona, and I know Daytona is a very special event for a lot of the Northeastern people, and especially the people that don't live far from Daytona. I just, you know, I like to drink, but I also like to ride, and I also like a little bit of history, and you don't have riding or history or any of that shit in Daytona.
But you sure got drinking.
You got drinking, and then you got hopefully being able to get back to wherever you're staying from the cops, and they don't want you there. You know, it's just not the vibe that I want when I'm on a motorcycle trip, spending money and, you know, trying to have great experiences. Now, the Keys, there's things in Florida to do on motorcycles. It's amazing. I don't want to pay the Daytona price tag for, you know.
Well, we have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Now that's just my opinion. I always tell everybody, look, everybody's going to have their own opinion about these events. And for some people, it's the perfect thing at the perfect time in the perfect way. And for me, it just wasn't. So,
well, for us, we're not huge rally guys, but, you know, we do Sturgis, obviously. We do a couple of the local events here because we know the people, like, you know, Born Free. We know the guys that run that.
Yeah.
And we've been recently going to Live Fast, which is kind of in our neck of the woods. And we know the guys that run that, and really support them more from a charity perspective because they're supporting first responders.
Yeah.
You know, and health for those people. So we've just had so many people over the last, you know, it's been even more than 3 years when Lance and I had Instagrams, people were saying, would you ever come out and ride in Florida? And it's like, we really hadn't thought about it, but it's one piece of the map that we haven't really covered. We kind of initially wanted to go from, maybe Louisiana and cut across the bottom into Daytona. But
and I mean, I can give you this about Florida. There's some of the raddest dudes on motorcycles in Florida.
Yeah.
We have some of the best sunsets I've ever seen in my life. There are a lot of great gyms in Florida. And I think that the Daytona goggles that people put on, they kind of miss all the really great things about Florida by going to that one event. So,
yeah,
whether you're up in the Panhandle of Florida, like Florida, Bama, there's great bars over there. There's great, like the beaches are much nicer, in my opinion, at least. And then like when you get down towards like, Miami and especially the Keys, like you feel like you're in a tropical island. It's just a different experience than northern Florida.
right.
Like I said, Daytona, I get it, and I think that, guys like you guys should be there. Daytona, hopefully somebody will figure something out to make it a more enjoyable experience for, I guess, my selfish ass.
And what do you mean by you people?
haven't heard one person say there's great riding there. They all say the riding's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't ridden it, but I just drove through Iowa and everybody's like, Iowa and Kansas is like horrible riding. I'm like, dude, I'll take that any day over the week than Louisiana and Mississippi and all that shit. Like you get tree tunnels where you can't see nothing but 10 feet off the road. Like that just, I hate that. You know what I mean? But there's so many amazing things going east that like, you kind of like got to go through all that shit to get to it. But then some people will say, they hate riding like West Texas or the Big Sky areas of the country, and I love that. I kind of like the fact that I can see the next 15 miles I'm about to ride.
You like Monument Valley?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's going to be something for us to experience, and I'm not saying we're going back, but we'll give it a shot once and see what's up.
Well, yeah, if somebody wants to fly me out to go shake hands and kiss babies and stuff, then I'll definitely go out there. But I'm not spending my own fucking money at all to do that. So,
well, we got so many trips planned. This will be the second one, but through the rest of the year, we're real busy. We're going to be riding a lot and doing different things, but we're going to check it out, and we'll check it off the list and say, hey,
yeah. That's the main thing is like, I think that everybody should experience every event, and whether it's a rally or not, there's certain rallies that have like hidden gems of things within it that make it a special thing. Like, I've been a big proponent of Sturgis my whole life since the first day I went to it, but you get a lot of people that'll go to a Daytona and say that, oh, this is rallies across the board. And it's not,
right.
Sturgis is its own thing. And I haven't been to Laconia yet. That's one of the ones on the list.
Yeah, I would like to try that one.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you guys rode it last year. It's fucking beautiful up there.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
One of the most amazing roads, and a lot of history out there.
Right.
Well, our buddy Matt at Harley, he said he was going to take us on the St. Augustine Loop or something.
He said get north and go up to St. Augustine and some other.
He said there's a few historic things there.
There's definitely a lot of history in St. Augustine. I think it's actually one of the oldest established cities in America, right? Yeah. Something along those lines.
Yeah. No, there's history there. It's just,
right.
What kind of history you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Hemingway house when I was down there in the Keys with my buddy Big Trouble, and I was fascinated by that and all the history behind it and all the cats everywhere, and it was pretty cool, man. I love that shit,
So we used to see Ray from Harley Showcase, and I think he got hacked or something a couple of times. And then someone mentioned the other day that he's still going, and we hadn't seen his handle. You guys were doing a podcast before with him. Did you do another one with him again that I saw? I saw something.
He hit me up to, he does the lives on Instagram, I think. And so we did a live that I think he recorded and then released it as a podcast. And I think it's called Throttle Roots now.
Throttle Roots.
Yeah, pretty cool name. Good logo with it and everything. And I mean, he's killing. He's busting ass. He's putting out content. He's getting people on there and growing his channel, which is awesome. So,
and everything's good with you guys.
Yeah. we had I wouldn't say I think that, originally he kind of took like I'm a Texas boy that's claiming a lot of the performance motorcycle stuff because that's been my life for the last 6-7 years, right? And then everybody knows all this shit came from California. We get it, California. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, we just had disagreements on certain things. And, like I said, I went and did the podcast with him. We talked it out.
Yeah.
It was all good. I'm not necessarily someone that wants a lot of drama or beef with anybody. I didn't get in motorcycles to do that.
Right.
I had motorcycles and want to party with people and experience cool shit. I don't want to fight with anybody over something that I don't even own. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good. So what do you think? Have you looked at the launch or anything this year with Harley and stuff? What's going on there?
Yeah, I saw y'all on there.
Well, not that, but
that's all he was going for.
So you're like so Harley famous now. Can't even look at you guys. Honestly, man, that between just seeing like the just you guys and some of the promotional stuff, like the photography that was done around I think Thanksgiving and the holiday stuff, that was awesome. But seeing you guys on the Harley launch, and I know a lot of other people that are kind of in the similar space as you guys, like I forget his name from Prism. Supply was on there. And then of course Becky from she built a bike for Born Free last year. Knowing you guys and having such a relationship with you guys outside of the world of social media or whatever you want to call it, I was like stoked to see you guys there. It just, to me, it's cool. It feels like you got your guys, or your guys or your homies are in there batting for you, And so it's just kind of rad seeing it. How was it acting? You guys?
Well, the cool thing is we really didn't have to act because we just did what we thought.
I can tell. You guys do it well, man. Like,
look, it was an all-day event. The way they had the bikes, you would love it just from a camera perspective. Yeah. The way they had the lighting set up and the bike set up, and just, literally, they just blew up on the floor, and it was like, wow, that's just amazing. And the bikes, the color of the bikes is really kind of what drew my attention to it. It was that it's an heirloom red that is different, and it's got some hand stuff done on it. And so just the artistry of the bike, seemed to be pretty compelling. Like, and then they did some different things with like the badges and some of the points covers and the dash and the rims they changed out. So I know people were like, oh, it's the same old bike and it's just colors. And well, this is what the M8s came out in 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're 5-6 years in, who knows what happens next year, but when you're in that production for that time, what do? Isn't it paint?
Yeah, of course. It's just,
I don't know, but
it's bitch and paint.
It was cool to be there. And Brad was on one of our lives as well. So that was fun to be able to reconnect with him, but it was an all day affair. There
was a production, there was a big crew there, but we're going to be riding the 120s down in Daytona, and then we're going to ride them to the 120th.
Nice.
So
the whole deal, like I'm a Harley fan. I got it tattooed on my damn neck, dude, like a dumbass. So I'm kind of stuck with this brand. We're married for life, you know what I mean? But at the same time, to that note, like I'm in the custom motorcycle space. So I like the fact that these bikes have a great base to start with. And I do like the fact that when they add more flavor to their bikes, it kind of gives an entry-level customer a taste of what custom feels like. And it might just be, a factory paint job or whatnot, like kind of like your Road Glide that you've had, Galen, this the orange with the gray kind of scallop on it and whatnot. Those kind of things kind of like get people to start wanting to customize it a little bit more because it's not just a black Road Glide, right?
Right.
And, I've always felt like, and sometimes they do this and sometimes they kind of slack, but I think that if they could focus on creating another batch of accessories that are not currently available each year. You know, like when they came out with the spoiler that goes on the side fairings on the CVOs.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that added a whole nother dynamic to this to the Rushmore series of road glides. Right. And if they were to keep finding ways to innovate certain parts that maybe could be available from my 2014 bike all the way to now, or 15 all the way to now, like that stuff's cool, you know.
They're embracing that custom stuff now more than they were the last few years. So it's almost like they're bragging about, here's the pallet, here's the canvas, here's your bike, do some stuff to it. You know?
Well, Brad even said that they're trying to pay more attention to the scene that's out there, the custom scene, the bagger racing league. I mean, if that front fender on the bagger has been basically the same fender since they started, and to see them go to a short fender on the ST, that's a big change. I mean, that's a design change that I'm not saying you have to like it or don't like it. It's just a change, and it maybe indicates that, you know, and having in some of the models where they've put the Olin's aftermarket on it, and so some things like that, I think should help them, because you're right. It's like if we get these bikes and we go, there's a great base for them, but we tear all the parts off and put all of our aftermarket stuff on. You know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, like that's what makes motorcycling a little bit more individual than, you know, certain other aspects of the world. And I think it's lent itself to why we get so connected to the bikes, because they have a personalized touch, and that level of touch is different for everybody. Sometimes it's a pocketbook thing, sometimes it's a creative thing. So, you know, we turn these bikes into like memory vessels, if you will, that we go have great times on. And, you know, like I look back at a paint job that I had on this bike, which reminds me of things I did on that bike. And you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good time.
Definitely.
No, I mean, I don't know. The ones that we rode, I had a jet propulsion pack on the back, and I could actually go through the lake, Echo Lake. I was jamming across the lake there.
Right. That's Echo, Utah.
Echo, Utah.
Yeah. Well, that last trip you guys just did, the Loneliest Highway, that's something that me and my buddy Jaden, when we came down there to see you guys last summer, we were trying to do more of it. I want to see more of Highway 50 closer to the Utah border than closer to the Virginia City area, because that's
towards Baker. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful highway. The road's really nice. I mean, we rode through snow across the whole damn thing. But that made it really cool.
Yeah, the pictures look cool. You guys were posting in the stories and stuff. So
yeah,
really enjoyed it.
I mean, that whole area. Since we have what the hell is the AAA, right? Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah.
We get the magazine Westways, and it just so happens just before we left on the trip, that came in the mail, and the Great Basin National Park, in their opinion, was one of the most underrated national parks in the country. And then you start to read about it. There's these Lehman Caves. There's all this outdoor activity that you can do. They have Wheeler Peak that's like 13,000 feet. When we set up the trip, we were just kind of looking, you know, at the map, saying, hey, what can we do that's somewhat local? We got to get some content. We're a little bit behind because we had some weather delay in January, and it was like, well, this should be a decent area to ride. Doesn't look like there's any weather. We just didn't count on how cold it was going to be, and we knew it was going to be somewhat cold, so we packed our Dickie overalls. But I mean, you know how it is, and you can talk a little bit about some of the rainstorms that you've ridden through, and then the aftermath of that, when just the skies open and the beauty comes in. Like the next morning when we got up and headed out towards Fallon, it was some of the most spectacular riding we've done in a long time. Yeah, because those desert floors and mountains, because we're still up at 7,000 feet, right? But it's desert. We're covered in this blanket of snow, and then you'd get these little sprinklings of the sunlight coming through and blasting, you know, sparkling off it was amazing.
I mean, Mammoth in California has like 700-800 inches of snow.
Yeah.
the most in the world right now.
That's wild. Yeah, this last trip we did in June where we came and saw you guys, I was on the road for a whole month. That was my first time really riding any of the Eastern Sierras. And we came in at Mammoth and then went north. And I've ridden like the Carson City into like South Lake Tahoe and all that. But man, it's just it seems like a less traveled but hidden gem of California that it's just not on the beaten path unless you happen to be going up that way, right?
Right.
And
so you did the whole 395 coming down here?
We started in Mammoth and then we went north. Like I want to go south and go through Death Valley and all that as well. That's one of the things on the list that I want to do. But we wanted to hit a hot spring. So we were on our trip last year. We went through we left a spot in Utah and we went across Nevada. We wanted to do the extraterrestrial highway and go see, the black mailbox and all that crap. Kind of overrated, to be completely honest with you. Like you ride through a lot of nothingness, but still would choose that over.
Is that where the alien brothel was?
Something like, well, I don't know if that's there, but it's something around there. So it's crazy that we stopped at the only gas station around there, and there was a wild man talking about how they won't let him in so he can get a spaceship, and the cops were there running him off, and I'm like, this dude looks like he's seriously crazy, but what if he's telling the truth? Like, I want to know, like, maybe he does have a spaceship there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. Well, if you get a chance to go from Mammoth down on 395, it's really awesome scenery on the eastern slope of the Sierra. Yeah, I mean, there's Manzanar, the old World War II camp where they took the Japanese people. It's just there's so many great things in Death Valley. If you haven't been in there, spectacular.
Yeah.
And we got that all in this next drops coming up.
Nice. That's one of the things I like about it. But yeah, we wanted to hit a hot spring out there, and there's a couple that you can just kind of walk up to over there in the Mammoth area.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and it was a great experience. And then we were going to camp that day, but then we had a campground pretty high in the mountains, and so we were like they were still snow capped, so we just ended up getting a hotel instead and staying in a hotel that night. But great place, man. I love it out there.
I've had a lot of great camping in motels across this country. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
They have showers. They have everything.
I don't know how much more camping we're going to be doing on some of our bigger trips because the pack outs that we kind of take now, it's like there's just no more space. I have all the camera gear and podcast gear, and it just kind of takes precedent over camping gear. Now there's certain places that I just would love to go back and camp again. Big Sur was one of them that I really enjoyed. And this last trip, we camped in like Gold Beach, Oregon. We camped in Leggett, California. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's almost to the point where it's like, I'll just buy a tent there
and leave it.
And leave it kind of situation. It's like costs the same as a hotel. So,
right. Well, we stayed in Page, Arizona for a week and then ventured out from the hotel.
Yeah, that whole series was pretty good.
We had fun on that.
We did like all the different angles you guys were showing, some of the Antelope Canyon type stuff, or what they call them, slot canyons is what.
Yeah, slot canyons.
Yep.
That stuff was pretty cool. We just rode right through it that same year. We went through there on last year on the way to Mammoth. So ridden that area a lot, but we never stopped. This time
I know a guy that can paint pretty well. So if you're running out of space, there's nothing wrong with like fixing up a dope trailer to put on the back of that road glide.
Man, I don't know.
I mean, you get all the space you want, brother.
Yeah,
pop-up tent trailer.
Pop-up tent, like the whole 9 yards there.
One day, that's probably going to be a life I will be living. But right now,
I saw
an able-bodied man. I'm going to continue to not have trailers.
I saw like 4 or 5 baggers, or we did when one of our first Grand Canyon trips. They had a single wheel trailer, and it was an exact replica of the saddlebag.
Yeah, I've seen something like that. They're kind of small, little dinky looking wheels, but they seem to work real well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I feel you on the camera gear because we'll be on trips and they'll be kind of packed to the brim. But I have one entire saddlebag, and my whole tour pack is dedicated just to camera gear, as well as a whole piece of luggage. So I got one saddlebag for a week's worth of clothes, rain gear, and tools.
Yeah.
And there's like never enough room. So camping gear would just be a whole whole nother thing.
Like with my brand, a lot of our sponsors are also sponsors of products on my bike.
Yep.
So when I go on these trips, they want content from this. They want nice pictures. They want some cool videos. And if you have an atrocity of a pack out where you have all this stuff strapped to it, you can't really get great photography, or you have to take so much off the bike that it becomes such a hassle to do it. So you want to have a pack out that's pretty streamlined. So if you have to, you can pull it off real quick, pull the tour pack off, get a nice look of the bike, get some shots, and then throw it back on and get back down the road. So
speaking of sponsors, do you want to give them a shout out right now?
Oh, my sponsors?
Yeah.
So we got Thundermax.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thundermax is one of the top dogs. We got Arlen Ness motorcycles, Simpson motorcycle helmets, Lexan Moto, and Lucky Dave's, my man down there in San Diego. And then Cowboy Harley Davidson. That's my go-to place to get bikes right now. So,
Excellent.
There you go. We like the shameless plug. It's okay.
It ain't shameless.
We're good with it,
but it is a plug.
It's a plug.
Most of them have been with me for years, man. That's one thing I like about it, is that we have a great working relationship, and we all talk back and forth, and we work on how we can create better content or create better products for people. So it's the perfect storm of a sponsorship relationship. So, I don't want to be in the space that you charge people a lot of money for sponsorships and you don't give them a lot of value, and then you have to constantly look for new sponsors.
Yeah.
Right? When I use these products on my bike, I kind of want them to be the same people all the time, because then people know, like, look, like, I actually use this shit. It works great. I travel on it. You're not going to have a problem, as opposed to
100%.
Oh, we got a new computer company this week, because the last one dropped me. So now here's a new one.
Yeah. Check out this number.
That's something, Jace, called loyalty.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And we've got the same with most of our sponsors have been with us even before we started this whole thing. And we have numerous people coming to us to run stuff. And it's like, well, first of all, we don't just run stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we've got kind of everything we need.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were going to run something, we'd want to test it to see if it really works or not, because we don't want to lie to people that buy stuff from us.
And
like,
not just one
this
trip.
is great.
We want to test it for a couple of trips, different scenarios.
Yeah.
See how durable it is.
Well, our whole thing is we're going to test it. If we like it, whatever it is, whatever sponsorship relationship we have, we want to become friends with them. We want to keep them with the loyalty thing for years to come.
Yeah.
And that's kind of happened with us, because if we're not your friend, we're not going to hang out with you. We're not going to be partner up with you.
I've had sponsors that I was pretty excited to get, but the relationship on the back end wasn't quite the relationship that I was looking for.
Right.
We've since gone different ways. But the other thing to that is, my main bread and butter these days is the podcast. You know what I mean? So our podcast, we produce 5 episodes a month, and it's within the motorcycle industry and the scene. So one of the things that I deal with my sponsors is like, look, with Simpson, which I have a great relationship with Simpson, but they're not like telling me that I can't do a podcast with Bell. Right. So I'm in a space, it's kind of a media thing. So I have to be able to talk to anybody. At one point in time, if I was sponsored by SNS, I still had the opportunity to still do a podcast with, like Feuling or something like that. Right. And that's the point, is I just don't want to like take away my ability to bring content to the audience. And so that's, again, the relationship that I have with the brands. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. You have to be able to do your business, but still you're loyal and people know what you use and run.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, it's you want to seamlessly bring these products into your life, and they kind of are for the most part. But at the same time, with the podcast, our job is to, things that are interesting, or, brands that have cool products that people want to get information on. Like, I want to provide that for people. I want to provide the history of things and things like that.
Right.
So, I'd like to know a little bit more information about your new switcher that you had
on the
Black Magic.
The Black
No,
Magic.
he had some guy. I don't know if it's child labor or what's going on over there, bro.
I paid him $40. Now my son's 12. He's about to be 13 in April, and you know, he doesn't live with me, so you know, I get him every other weekend, and he's starting to show a little bit more interest in just my life, if you will. And so in the paint side of things, like, you know, I think that the most eye-catching thing that I do that he would probably want to do is like learn how to do the airbrushing or the custom paint, but that's such a long process to get there, and it usually starts with a broom, and it's just not anything to a 12-year-old, right?
Right.
But this video stuff, my son's always been in the YouTube, and he's actually made little stop animation. I think that's how they did stuff when it's like Legos and Spider-Man characters and stuff like that. So I've always tried to feed in to him, like encouraging him, like, yeah, do that. Show me your video. Like, let him know that I'm very interested in to hopefully, you know, reinforce that concept of him wanting to create something through video type content. Because I know that moving forward, like having that ability to edit videos, shoot videos is going to be a good thing to have in a world that's going completely digital the way it is. Right.
Totally.
So,
big time.
Having him, you know, come up to the campground where we went to go film a video podcast with Adam Sandoval, you know, he had told me he wanted to make $40 when he came over to the house this week. And so he's not just asking for $40. So he's like, can I work and make $40? Because I'm trying to buy something on a game, you know. I'm like, yeah, cool. And I was like, well, do you want to switch the cameras? I was like, I'll pay you $40 to switch the cameras. Like, but you have to pay attention.
Right,
you know?
right.
When he talks, the camera has to be on him. When I talk, it has to be on. I don't do it on me anymore. I do it on us across the table. It feels weird. You know what I mean? Especially when I was doing it myself. I'm like, okay, let people see me talk now. It's kind of a weird feeling. So I just have like a shot that's across like both of us. And he did a great job. I mean, he was interested. He treated it like a job. So he didn't have too much context of what we were talking about, but he talks, bam. He talks, bam. You know what I mean?
So he was on it.
Yeah, and I told him,
and I'll bet it was probably pretty cool for him to kind of see his dad in action. You know what I mean?
I think so, maybe. I'm hoping that I even told him, it's like, if you really want to get into this, I told him I'd buy him a GoPro. You know,
there you go.
I was like, you know, I try to tell everybody I know, it's like, if you can't make something with a GoPro because it's not a good enough camera, then you're never going to make anything.
It's funny. I was answering comments before we started this stream, and someone goes, hey, can you put out a video on all your gear?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, we don't have that currently. We might do that this year. But at the end of it, basically the short answer was like, but it's really not about the gear. We went through a period of trying to, let's get the fancier camera. Let's get this. Let's get that. And then you have it and realize you really don't need it.
Yeah.
Get a GoPro, maybe a mirrorless camera, some decent mics. Done. It's all about the story.
Yeah. A GoPro and good mics, I think, will do almost everything you need a video to do.
Sure. But you've got Thrashin Supply, who's become kind of a little bit YouTube-y.
Yeah.
And it's a GoPro with no mic.
Right.
So, and to your point, Jace, it's like they're still getting decent audio quality. It's a little bit more vloggy, but you know, Lance and I probably couldn't edit it, but you guys and your son, Josh, could edit it. But
am I his son?
You can really, you're my son.
You're
my son. Okay. Get with it.
Get with the program, homie.
But you know, but I think the most important thing is it's like with all we do, it's you just have to have consistency in it, and people have to kind of realize that they're going to get something from you once a week or whatever your vibe is. They can count on it's going to be there. Like with your podcast, they know they're getting 5 a month.
Yeah,
you know, and they know they can listen to that cool shit. And
well, when we go out, we have a vision. We kind of know what we want to do. Then we ad lib a lot of it on the way, but then Josh gets into the editing. We care about the cameras. When we sit down and watch our drop, and maybe it's really, you could probably do half the work and still put the same information out.
Yeah.
But when we walk off the table and go, I really dug that. That's what we care about. So it's like, I don't care. When I'm happy, when we're happy, it's like that we did what we wanted to do.
And it's telling the story how we experienced it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means a couple extra steps.
Yeah.
But even down to the GoPro thing, like most people have one of these. You could literally film a killer. There is people out there with millions of views on their YouTube channel just using a phone because the phones are so capable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think where some of my hiccups of like really going full fledged into the vlog setup of YouTube is like I'm gonna wrap this into this another story, but I feel like when I'm filming it and I'm showing people, I feel like it's dumb. You know what I mean? But then my friends, my machinist and my buddy Skilo, we love Skilo up in Arkansas, they just started their YouTube channel and they've been putting out a video a week for the last 3 weeks. And it's like, if I was there, I'd be like, this is kind of not that interesting, but because it's being videoed and portrayed, I'm like interested in it. I'm like, oh, okay, it gave me a new perspective on it. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe some of this shit can be interesting to people. I do have a hard time sometimes knowing what to say about it, which, like I said, I've been listening to this book from Rick Rubin recently, and he did a book on creativity and stuff, and there was things in it where he talked about how sometimes being a perfectionist will keep you from ever doing anything.
Right.
And sometimes I have tendencies to try to perfect things, and I want to make it look so good on camera that I'm kind of depleted when it comes to just figuring out what the fuck to do on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know.
But think about that for a minute. Yet you're totally comfortable doing podcasts.
Yeah, but this is set up. I don't have to do anything. Vlogging, videoing, I have to take this with me. So the easier I make it to take it with me,
for sure,
the more likely I'll do it, and then I'll put something together that has a like some kind of cohesive story or progression of it to tell and put into a video, right?
But I'm speaking more to the fact that you don't know what to say. You do know what to say. I mean, you're talking about shit all day long, whether it's paint, whether it's custom bike, whether it's a frame, whether it's your son earning $40. I mean,
good point, man. That's
you know what I mean, and it's
in my head. So,
and I think that's what people. I think what people tend to want. I just a guess is that
it's real.
Are you being real?
And raw?
The answer is you are.
I mean, what we do is we're riding and we experience some stuff. We're filming on the road. Josh is capturing us. We're filming each other. And then when we get to this destination and we stop and we're going to talk about it, we're like, it's so easy to talk about it because we just lived it and we dug it. It's in our soul. Yeah. So when you get off the bike and say, did you just see that? Or we did this in the history of this place. So you just say what you feel.
So like for us, we don't chop out. He chops some stuff out, but if we mention a place that was the wrong place, we leave it in because we make mistakes. You know, if we said something that was a little different, shouldn't have been that, we leave it in because we make mistakes. It's human nature not to know everything, but we were talking at Sturgis this year with all the guys and with Lance and them, now doing some of the vlogging as well. Like, when you watch a movie or a television show with an actor, you see a character and you don't really know who that actor is through and thick and thin. You don't really. And yet when you're on a podcast, like you've been doing these video up front, we called you the other day and said, these are great. Mm-hmm. It was really cool to see that because you've changed up the pace a little bit, but yeah, that's letting people see who you really are. And the same with us on camera. It's like people feel like they can just come up and because they feel like they know us. And it is, we're laying our lives out in front of everyone. Mm-hmm. And we're not cutting it to make it some fake kind of deal. Yeah. It's just who we are.
Real quick, we had a person ask us about where he should eat dinner
in Page,
Arizona tonight.
I was thinking about that. Grand Canyon Brewery. That's a good one. The Something Family Restaurant. Where we
Gone West Family Restaurant.
Good home style.
The brewery's great. The chicken place across
New York teriyaki is gas.
No, 89 on.
Sunset 89. Eat there. That's 89. The best meal. I'm telling you. The Mexican joint was fire too.
And tell Dino we said hello.
So wait. Yeah.
Chef Dino, Sunset 89, game
bomb.
That's it.
Sunset 89 or Gone West
or State 48. There's too many. We ate at every single small restaurant.
If you only have one meal, go to Dino.
Yep.
So anyway, you can watch the sunset.
You can watch the sunset. I got up for like 39 seconds to answer a phone call, and all I saw was 8K and shitty audio. So what did I miss?
All right. So we were talking about laying ourselves out there, and that's what. So similarly with your podcast, people are knowing who you are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird place. A podcast is different, in my opinion. I'm not looking at a camera. I don't have an agenda to the camera. I have an agenda to the guests that I'm speaking with about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I've tried to do solo podcasts. I've probably put about 3 of them out my entire 307 episodes. 3 of them have been just me, and they're very hard. Sometimes it's something that I can just flow with and talk and talk and talk. But then others, it's like I'm trying to get this information out, and I don't want it to sound too reedy. I want it to sound like I'm actually just talking normally like I am now. But yeah, I overthink a lot of shit. So when I see myself, like when I go back and edit podcasts, like just the audio, I just skip through it to make sure the audio sounds good. I don't listen to every word I said because I'd cringe. I'd be like, fuck, why did I say that? That was stupid. Why do you keep saying like? Why do you keep saying Just I get too critical of myself.
It's weird though. We've done talks standing in front of a building or a cool rock, and we've like wrapped it up real quick, and I'm riding away going, guy, I said that was stupid and it wasn't that good and it's going to not look good. And then I see it and go, wow, we did it.
Well, you guys I feel like you guys are you're comfortable in the process now. So you trust the process.
Yeah, that's true.
Now where I'm trying to understand the process and get to the point where I do trust it. Like this whole week I've been, GoProing around the shop trying to say shit. And then I'm hoping by Sunday that I can piece together a nice little 8 to 10 minute video of just something.
Right.
I'm not trying to hold myself to some huge standard of it's got to be the best thing I've ever done, because that's kind of the way I look at everything else. When I paint stuff, I don't look at it like I'm just going to throw this together and see how it works. Like, no, I'm trying to do the best thing I ever can.
Well, throw that video up and then watch it and watch what traction it gets. I bet you'll be surprised.
Yeah, and that's I'm starting to realize that. And with Instagram kind of getting a little bit more not a place I like to be, I find that I really want to be in a space of creating things for YouTube, and I feel like it's a more stable platform to put things on, and find inspiration and inspire. So, Instagram has been a great platform for my brand, my business, my life. It's just kind of turning into something I don't really care too much for. And I want to put all my energy this year into YouTube and creating something more substantial within it. So,
well, we have that conversation often here. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're beholden to social media to keep pushing the brand out. But if for some reason tomorrow everything's shut down, we've got to create a business model that allows us to still get out and ride and do the things that we like to do and diversify things. So the store is critically important. People that are sponsoring us, critically important.
Yeah.
And not to say social media is not, it is. We couldn't be in 53 countries. We couldn't have the kind of reach that we have without it. 100%. But it's a bitch because we're beholden to it a bit, and Adam was talking about it a year ago. Like, I need to start getting all my subscribers emails in case something goes south. At least I can still communicate to people, and there's something to that, quite frankly.
Yeah. I mean, to that same point, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've got a decent following on Instagram. So I'm trying to figure out how to transfer some of those people to our YouTube, which we have tons of content on YouTube in podcast form.
It's hard because YouTube guys and Instagram guys are Instagram. It's like,
and then there's people that follow both that don't even know you have a website or whatever it may be. It's hard to kind of get them in the circle of knowing everything you do,
Yeah. Well, and it feels like from the demographic, like the younger crowd is on Instagram, 45 and younger.
Yeah.
And the crowd that I call the sage crowd, because that's what I fit in, 45 and older are on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're blessed because we've got at least enough followers on both to hit both markets.
Yeah.
But we definitely would love to convert more of the Instagram people to YouTube for sure.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to do a lot more magazine and newspaper ads to try and
So before I lose it, I did have a question. It kind of related
of the building.
Kind of related to earlier when I was talking about gear. We had another comment on here asking about camera gear, and I was talking to a couple people online, about you being on here. So I'm trying to find it. It's way back here, but he was asking about camera setup. So I figured you would go first and talk about maybe what you're vlogging with, what you're traveling with, when you're doing the traveling podcast, with or without video. Because even though gear isn't always essential, it is something that people could and should know about,
You asking me?
Yeah.
It's like you were looking at them.
Yeah, the camera's in a weird spot.
All we know is GoPro 9 and 10.
Yeah,
That's
baby.
it.
So I do have 2 GoPros, and I kind of like buy one every year with this hopes of this is going to be the year I finally vlog. So I got a whole collection of GoPro shit everywhere, but I'm a Canon guy. I got a Canon EOS R5. It's a pretty high-end camera in the Canon family. And I have a lot of lenses that I've been using for photography, which is something I'm much more passionate about than video. But I'm trying to transfer that passion of photography into video. I have 2 other smaller EOS RP cameras. They're still mirrorless cameras, and they're full frame cameras. One of those is looking at me right now. And like I said, I have a pretty good lens collection for the RF mount. So I'm able to use some of the RF glass on the video podcast. Yesterday, we did a live podcast, and it was the first time I used the new camera setup. So it looks so much nicer. You have depth between me and the wall. This is being shot in 1080p right now. The GoPro has the ability to shoot at a very basic way to where it looks decent. But if you're a real camera nerd and you're going down, you're trying to match frame rate and stuff, the camera is going to give you a better look, but it requires a lot more editing to get just like this look, right? And so while I know how to do that stuff, while I'm trying to get these videos out, do I just focus on doing the most basic thing possible? Just get the content done, get used to doing the content, and then start adding all this extra flavor to it later on? It's
Absolutely.
I think that's the go-to. I mean,
that's what we did.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, y'all's videos
phones and
have like 100%. Like they were great when they started. Like if I could start where you guys started, I'm gonna be a happy man. You know what I mean? But I love photography, and I've been leaning into that pretty heavily for the last 3 years. And now it's kind of transferring into this. As far as when I go on the trip, I have 4 or 5 lenses. I have the main camera body with the R5. This is on a bike. And then I'll usually have a very small pack out for audio podcasts, just audio only, not doing video with that. A tripod. That's usually it on the trip. And then, of course, my laptop or something like that to dump cards and look at photos and whatnot. But
well, you can also take that Canon with that great lens and turn it back at yourself.
Yeah, and that's the plan.
And do some vlogging that way with that. There's Matt Laidlaw does that. Yep. Josh has been doing that.
Josh said something to me a long time ago when all of us rode down to Bandera together here in Texas. Josh said, you guys were shameless. And that's one thing I definitely am. So, or I am shameful. So like you guys can jump in I
don't remember that.
What the fuck are you telling people, Josh?
In a good way.
Was that after like whiskey or what?
14 shots minimum.
Was that the house in Bandera?
I think so. It was in the house.
He was drunk.
So what we need to do is we need to go on a trip again together with you, and you need to be part of the vlogging when we're working it.
Yeah.
And you'll get the vibe, and you'll just be,
So it's interesting what you said about trying to find some passion in video, because today, a couple hours ago, I bought a photography only camera. I mean, it's capable of video. It's like a hybrid, but I bought it because it would be something that would introduce me to photography only for fun, for passion, for storytelling. It's a Fujifilm.
Nice. Like an XT 100 or
100V. I've been searching for them for months. They're sold out. I paid a ridiculously over MSRP for it, but I've wanted it for a long time. So whatever. But
I'm actually
going well at 2LaneLIVE.
Yeah, it's taking out a damn life loan now. But it's when your work encompasses your passion, sometimes that overlap takes a little bit of not enjoyment, but it could take out the enjoyment in progression.
Yeah.
You've reached a certain point where you kind of know a decent amount. You want to learn more and still have fun with it. And, photography and videography, although very different, do still go hand in hand. Knowing one's going to help the other. Can you color a photo? Now you can color a video.
Yeah.
Can you compose something in X? Now you can do it in Y. But
well, I don't know what he's saying, but I'll tell you this. Go watch our first. Go into our website and look. Go into the channel and look at our lives and go to the very first live
we ever did. We were the most goofy.
You will laugh your ass off.
And I shot some film on one of these, and it turned out absolutely gangster.
Yeah,
so now I'm a film guy. I want to do.
Yeah,
so
I was about to tell you that I picked up a Canon AE1 program, which is a film camera from the 70s, and I've shot a couple rolls to it so far, and I enjoy it. I enjoy that process, and to your point of why, like that Fuji film, I've been thinking about getting something kind of more on that point and shoot kind of vibe that I can keep on me all the time, because I love capturing photos. And when you start chasing quality, you start getting these big rigs, big lenses and all this shit. And it just gets to the point where it's like, it's almost like everything has to be a production shoot. And I want to capture.
Sure.
Do what?
I just said for sure.
Oh,
and
well, I want to capture that stuff,
Yeah. And as you were saying, that was sorry to cut you off.
I asked him yesterday, where did you get that developed? And he's because I mean, there's the old 35 stuff. Where are you getting that developed? Because there's 3
places in Dallas that do it, and there's a bunch in LA. Yeah.
So, like you said, I mean, if you bring a mirrorless with a 70 to 100 or a big lens on there, when you're taking pictures of someone, they kind of trip out. They're like, oh shit, he's using this professional camera. Not to mention you have to carry that big thing on you.
Yeah.
But they can't, I mean, it's a little bigger than this, but it's a fixed lens. It's a prime. So you can't take the lens off. It's not a zoom. The whole thing is compact. You walk up to someone or you're at an event or whatever, and you take a picture with one of these, they don't think anything of it. Yeah. It's almost less weird than taking a picture with a phone. So it brings that casual aspect to it. It's
so weird.
The weirdest thing, and we see it all the time.
No, it's so weird because it's come back.
Yeah.
If you walk into a restaurant or a place of business and you got GoPros, it's no big deal. But when we walk in together,
we walk in all rigged
and Josh has his camera with the monitor on top and a headphones. Now everyone in the store is like, wow, who are you guys?
Yeah.
So just because of this, you got something must be going on.
But do you have any pictures from? Can you put those up or no?
I
mean, I have to tell you, I could not believe the quality of the picture that he got with that stupid Instamatic.
I was doing rollers too while we were riding, and they came out. Just something about that vintage film look is so rad. I got some prints, I got some digitals. Well, I'll put them out there online in a couple weeks.
So it's making its way back.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, someone said something really great recently in the film world. It's like you get so used to seeing everything so high def, everything's backlit with light, right? When you look at photos nowadays, you look at them on your phone or on a computer, it's backlit. It looks like so vibrant that I think that naturally we're all kind of looking for something that looks a little more tactile and mechanical and feels a little bit more soulful. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I love really nice quality photos that's real crisp and clean. But I love a good kind of, just grainy, photo that's really capturing a moment where it came out cool. You know what I mean?
I'm going to relate it to this. I was a sign painter, hand lettering artist. Yes. And if you look at a hand painted sign compared to a vinyl or a printed sign, exactly what you just explained is the soulful sign has a feeling to it. It's alive.
Yes. And if you look, you think about the trip we did in Texas and you have like a specific memory that pops into your head. Your mind isn't thinking this crazy edited, gnarly image that you remember. It's something more along the lines of like a little grainy, a little hazy, not quite sharp. It's like when I look at these, it has that just truly nostalgic feel.
Which is different than like a filter that you apply, right?
Yeah,
like
totally different. You can't get it without.
You can't get the energy around it. You put a filter and it's like, okay, cool. No, these are actually really cool photos.
Yeah. What I like about it is you don't know what you got. And then when you send it off and you get it back, you're kind of like, fuck.
That's the best part.
And but I have to tell you, because we're older over here, right? Well, we used to have the Instamatics and you'd get like out of 22 pictures, I think you get 10 that actually looked okay. Everything else was jacked
So these
up.
are, I don't know if the camera's going to focus, but this is one we're at some of the cliffs in Malibu, just my buddy Jay. And like it has this,
check it out.
Picked it up, point shot, done. You don't even know. That's at Neptune's. And you have that like grainy.
Yeah.
It's warm. It's colorful. It just looks
Hold up
great.
that camera that you took it with, not the one that you actually took it with, but so this is a plastic camera.
Yeah. It's just a little, and I got the digital downloads and
there's no filter. There's no zoom.
Yeah.
There's no focus. There's no ISO. There's no shutter speed. There's nothing. You just point, shoot, baby.
So I'm not trying to go too far down the rabbit hole with the film. I do enjoy it. It's bringing a little bit more thought and a little bit more enjoyment back to shooting photos. It feels more personal, like the film stuff that I get. I do want to post it, but it's like it means more to me than something I did for the community of people. But I shot film back in like 06 a little bit, and I was dating a girl that was going to school for photography. So as she was learning like darkroom and stuff, she'd come home and I'd be like, "Oh, so what did you learn today?" You know, I was so into it, and I would use her camera and take pictures of bike stuff back then. And I still have those photos as well. But I just kind of lost interest in it. I didn't really know if it was for me. And then I repicked up cameras back in 2016 and then dove head first back into it in 2020. You know, so photography has always been something in my life, but I've just kind of had a, we break up, we get back together kind of situation with the camera stuff. So
it's kind of how it goes with gear, Yeah.
I got a lot of gear here. I mean, I got the studio, I got a lot of camera, I got a lot of lighting stuff. When I shoot photography a lot, I shoot with like actually using flashes, which create like nice looks. So I forgot in my pack out, I take 2 flashes that are look like cans of soda, and I'll set them up and get like these badass sunset shots. But then the bike's lit up to where you can actually see it, and it looks badass. I love doing it, but I also love that whole like the film vibe where you just capture it in the moment. Some of it might be overexposed, some of it might be too dark. It's all cool to me,
For sure.
It's a fun thing. I mean, I can't even imagine going riding now without. I mean, we'll film for 4 days, 5 days, and on the ride home, once we close it, then we don't no cameras and we just rip around and have a good time. But we have a good time filming too. It's all part of the journey. And
even this past trip we just got back from was more, part of the idea behind it was like, we just got back from this page trip where we have a couple interviews scheduled per day, 2 camera interviews. We got to monitor the audio, do all this stuff, get all this B-roll, and then right here, and then that, just nonstop. And it's still great because we get to, play a part in telling the story of the people and the places we're at. But this trip was just point and shoot, mess with the GoPros, take the drone out a couple times, take some pictures.
Back to our roots.
Back to our roots, and it is more enjoyable.
The creative process of the videos you guys are doing added to the thing that you love doing, which is riding motorcycles. Like, it's such a rewarding thing. You know what I mean? I know that's why you guys have done so well at it, is because it's rewarding to you guys. You keep wanting to do it more, make it better, make it funner, and whatnot. And it comes across in your videos and how you guys portray the 2-lane life. You know what I mean? As a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love this shit too. I want to create. I'm a one-man shop. I got a shop. I have parts to sand. I got helmets to paint. I got bikes to paint. I got wife to please.
Get that kid editing, and he'll learn it in a year or 2.
I'd like to. I'd like to do that. I'd like to inspire people to want to pick up different things and kind of use our platform we've already built to help them kind of grow on. But I'm hard to work with. That's the reason why I'm solo here.
I don't know. I wouldn't know that just by hanging out with you. But how's your wife doing, man?
She's good.
Awesome.
We're actually gonna go get some steaks after this podcast.
Well, tell her we say hi.
Get the steak dinner.
Yeah,
that's the Jameson shot.
Jameson shot.
A half a shot of Worcestershire, lemon with salt and pepper, and boom.
Nice. Trust me, I drank way too much last night on the podcast, so I would love to have more beer and some whiskey right now. But my wife,
not an option.
Did I just see an EagleRider logo fly by the screen? I didn't know if I saw that.
But
I thought I did.
So Jace, what's the big deal in 2023 for you in the shop? What's happening?
Well, I think this is a year where I need a shit or get out the pot when it comes to like going full time with podcasting and creating videos and creating content for people to enjoy. I love painting and I don't ever want to give it up, but I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to have to find another place to do painting on a smaller scale. And I'm gonna have to find a way to kind of still scratch that itch with that. But I need to focus on these other things. Like we've had the #1 motorcycle podcast in the Harley Davidson space for the last 4 years.
That's right? Awesome.
So for me to say that, you know, is it #1 because of quality or the fact that we just get a lot of listens? Who knows the truth behind that, you know, but
it's all the above, man.
It's been consistent. It's been there. We've had the biggest names in the motorcycle industry on it. We've had some really rad people that are just everyday guys that have badass stories. So I want to continue to make that better and make the videos better, make I want to make myself better at interviewing and speaking and all that shit. And, you know, when you have to paint something, and paint is a very time consuming process, every helmet could have up to 40 to 60 hours into it, right? That's one helmet, you know what I mean? And then you guys know how long it is to take a video or to edit a video, to create a video, or to do a podcast. It's a lot of time, you know what I mean? And I'm not bitching about it because, you know, I love the hustle and having a dream and trying to get to that dream. But yeah, this year it's got to be, I need to stop toying around with it and make some shit happen and take it more seriously than I am, and try to create something more substantial out of it, and try to put more road miles down, try to do more of that. I think I'm going to pick up a Lowrider ST next week. Yeah. You know, I got the Road Glide. I got the 2020 Road Glide. It's paid for. I did sell the paint job off of it. So I'm actually getting ready to take that to Washington, do podcasts on the trip to Washington in the Jeep, sell the tins to an awesome guy up there, and he's going to trade me his old ones. And then I'm going to do this whole ride back down to LA, probably see you guys, and then come back to Texas.
Right on.
Probably record 15, 16 podcasts on the trip. Then come home, and like I said, I'll probably pick up this ST, and I might just leave the bagger alone this year and then like do a full redo, customizing, frame off something really nice and have it ready for the end of the year. Do this ST, kind of get the experience of riding an ST across the country a couple of times. You know, it still has a fairing, still has bags, so I'll still be able to take shit with me. But I guess I'm kind of looking for something new in motorcycles right now. And I've been riding the bagger for the last 4-5 years. Actually, been riding the bagger since 2017. So, yeah, looking for like a new experience on the motorcycle. And I think the ST might be able to give me that. If not, it'll be for sale.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, those are great bikes.
So it'll be.
I know Lance Jr. loves the ST.
Yeah, he's really into it.
He's really stoked on it.
I think they got potential, man. So
yeah, and you can do some cool things. I think he's doing some cool stuff that will be unveiled at some point.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna do the ST. We're gonna get it dialed in, looking really good. And I wouldn't say we're gonna unveil it, but it'll definitely be probably at the Arlen Ness booth at Born Free. So we're kind of gonna. I'm gonna get the bike. I'm gonna ride it around, and try to make what do you call it? Just try to get, you know, ride the bike, go to Campout on it, but then tear it down about 2 weeks before Born Free, get it all dialed in with the paint job, make it look good, and then ride it out there and then have it on display. So, you know, it's the plan at least. If everything goes well.
Hey, I saw Pacific Islander boys.
Where'd he go? That's way up there.
I'm not sure.
Enjoy.
I think they were at Teleco.
Oh, really?
And took a picture.
Oh, was that them?
With our 2-lane knife, and I'm not sure we got them gloves.
Oh, well, shoot me an email.
So if they're still listening, we'll send you some gloves. Make sure we might have sent them. I just don't remember, but I see that, and it makes me think we didn't.
Anyway, speaking of info, before we wrap this up, whether you're watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it may be, don't forget to check out all of JACE'S stuff. It's in the video description. There's links. There's all that. But real quick, if you want to give a little elevator pitch, Jace, what you do, where to find you, all that good stuff.
Well, we have a YouTube that's kind of been, you know, steady along. It's just the Fast Life Garage on YouTube, the Fast Life Garage on Instagram, all one word. Our website is the Fast Life Garage, or no, just fastlifegarage.com. And, you know, we're a custom paint, even though that's kind of going away. podcasting, photography. We do a lot of product photography for brands and things like that. You might see my bike is the cover model for a handful of brands out there. One of them being Bassani exhaust system right now. I put on events. We put on the Down South Campout. I'm co-hosting an event with my good friend Justin, my machinist, called the FXR Tour, which is basically 10 of us are building FXRs for the Born Free Texas event. And we are every Friday, all 10 builders are posting with the hashtag FXR Tour about some of the progress they're doing on their build. The week before Born Free Texas, we're all meeting in Durango, Harley-Davidson, having a party, and we're all going to ride these custom built bikes 1,000 miles to Born Free Texas with the pre-party that we're hosting for Born Free Texas at Strokers Dallas, which you guys went to me with me when y'all were in town.
Rick
had the Born Free Texas pre-party there with all the bikes that are going to be on the trip. And we're trying to bring back the old biker build-off vibe, but add like a hot rod power tour aspect to it. So it's going to be a good time. I'm glad to be a part of it. My friend Justin is really the idea behind it, and I'm just kind of using all my contacts and all my world to kind of help make it more, available and add some validity to it. So, our podcast, hopefully some
Patreon
pretty soon. We have a Patreon where a lot of people support our podcast. We do some podcasts on there that are just for there, but sometimes it gets a little tough to link up with the other homies that come through and do it. But yeah, when you say it, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it feels like a lot when you're living.
Yeah.
Big time.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot. We know
a
it.
Ton.
Yeah.
So look, this guy's an incredible guy. Helped us out as we got started.
Yeah.
Go check his stuff out. Do you want to give away a hat or two from 2LaneLIVE for Feuling? Are you into that or no?
Yeah, let's give away a hat. Who you asking?
Give away a hat?
Let me check that camera.
What's the camera?
Oh, we're frozen. No, we're not frozen.
No, we still
We're
got
good.
5% battery
Oh,
left.
crap.
We're good.
So are you asking Jace?
So
if he
Jace
wants
is
to?
going to call out a number.
Well, Jace is
thinking about a number.
okay.
Yeah. Am I supposed to say it?
No. Hold on.
Yeah, you say it and then they guess it.
No.
So
right,
a number between 1 and 20.
Okay.
And it's going to go quick.
And the first person to type it in there, 13. We got a 13. We got a 69. Delta Dan, it's not between 20, but I appreciate your effort. Big time
1
there.
and 20, Jace.
Gonzo, we got 11.
Let it run for a second.
16, 9.
Well, when Jace hears it,
some people.
No.
If anybody knows me, they know what number it is. But
I probably would have guessed 69 also.
even though it's between 1 and 20,
18.
Once he hears it, he should call it out because that's the winner.
Once you hear it,
17.
you call it out.
Yeah, I'll have to 3.14.
By the way, if you're listening to this after today, February 9th, it's over.
2023, yeah, it's live, so you can't win a hat. But you're more than welcome to visit our website at 2LaneLIVE.com where you have hats, V-twin parts, vlogs.
All right, what other guesses?
Accessories, all that nonsense. I've lost it. I don't know if you can see these comments, right, Chase?
Let me exit full screen real quick.
20, 11, 14, 9.
Oh, James Latoff.
Okay, what did he guess?
You got a 4.
15.
You just passed him.
I know. I'm just looking to see if there was what number was it?
Well, James is throwing out a bunch of different
15
numbers.
is the first number, or 15. Is the
15.
number,
So let me just see who the first
14
person to say 15 was, because I've gotten some angry emails. I was first. Oh, well, sorry, man. Okay, I'm starting from the top here. The first person to say 15 was
looks like Miguel Sanchez, Miguelito.
Yeah, Miguelito Sanchez. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's my camera. We're good. So my camera died. Theirs is about to die. Miguelito Sanchez, email info@2lanelife.com with a screenshot of your YouTube handle and your address and all that stuff.
And you get a free hat.
And you get a
Are
free
we
hat.
about to die, or can we do one more?
You can try and do one more, but we are definitely about to die.
Let's not do. We'll do that next week.
Tune in next week to win some hats.
Hey, Jace, we love you, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you joining today.
Thank you, guys.
Love what you're doing, and friends forever.
Yeah, dude. Let's really one day let's figure out a way to do some miles together.
Absolutely.
Ride out there and come be a part of y'all's trip, but that'd be a good purpose for me to jump on the bike and come to California and do a trip.
Let's get a ride going.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, thanks for being on, man.
Stay tuned for a second, Jace.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Remember, do not forget to check out 2LaneLIVE.com for V-Twin parts, accessories, links to EagleRider to save money, apparel, all that good stuff. We appreciate the support, and we will
see you
down the road.